Live? We're live. Excellent. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this. This is a different stream than I would normally do. Normally I just game on this channel when I'm streaming, and this is going to be different. This is going to be a reaction to a Q&A that CCP Paragon did concerning the announcement made on Friday, right before close of business Iceland time, where they announced that they are going to be raising the price of a subscription in EVE Online 33%, going from $14.95 to $19.99, which has caused a lot of consternation. It's caused a lot of people to lose their daggum minds because this came out of nowhere, and it's coming on the heels of many things, but not least of all is the lack of content that has plagued EVE over the last 2+ years. Excuse me. And we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be listening to it. I'm going to be reacting in the raw, off the cuff, to what he's saying. I think I listened like the first minute and a half. I haven't listened to anything more than that. So we're going to go right into it. But before we do, I got a shout out. I got quoted on a PC Gamer article. So let's head on over to there. I highlighted it, but this quote comes from me, my character, Pirate Aussie. It's an alt account that I've had for a bit. I use him as kind of a bank. I bank all my money onto him. And I go from there. I don't do anything else with him. Oh, excuse me. What's with the coughing? Ooh. Some of the coughing. And my post actually that's being quoted is right here, where I'm replying to the Plex price change feedback. And the exact quote coming out, I just want to make sure on something. Yep, we're good. We are goody. So the exact quote that's being quoted here comes from this paragraph. The smart play would have been to either announce it for 6 months from now to give players time to see if new content comes out and if it's worth paying the increase. Alternatively, another smart play, though likely not something the player base would be overly fond of them doing, would be to wait until after FanFest, allow the players to digest whatever CCP throws at them, gauge reactions, and then make a decision there. Instead, they did this, giving people 25 calendar days to consider it. We are getting 25 calendar days to determine if we want to continue paying for a subscription at $20 instead of $15 before taxes. Obviously, this is in USD. It is different depending on what actual currency your country uses. Australia, for example, will be paying $27.50, almost $30 per account. And that's kind of the big issue. Is EVE Online is relatively unique in that CCP actively encourages you to have more than one account. More than one account. That's a pretty substantial thing to happen. If it was $20 for one account, people would, they may not be happy that there's an increase with this current with this current, what's it called, economy, with inflation running rampant. You got a land war in Europe, in Eastern Europe, Russia and Ukraine, obviously. But you have this happening. You have an economy that's stagnant. Inflation is running rather rampant. In the United States, we're at a 40-year high in inflation. Thanks, Biden. And, we're dealing with this how we can. To come out and say, to make up for the fact that inflation has happened, we're taking something that is, optional and increasing the price. And by the way, you are all encouraged to have more than one account. So that $20, multiply that by the amount of accounts you have. So let's say you had 4 accounts previously, paying $60 a month, and then they come out and say it's $20 now. Well, in order to keep it that amount, which you might be on a fixed budget, you can't do more than $60 a month. You now cut out one of your accounts. If you can't Plex it, you cut it out. If you complex it to begin with, you're probably not paying, right? But you're going to cut out one of the accounts. They just lost an account. Still getting the same money. They're not getting that. Actually, that would be 33% increase. They're not getting a 33% increase from you. And that's not including all the people who are just going to just stop playing. And that's been a huge thing on Reddit, on Twitter, on the e-forums, are people just saying, I'm closing down my account. People are posting screenshots of them closing down their account. Now, all of this is coming from somebody who hasn't played the game for the last 3 years. I have not played. I have harped on that. I've hammered that home that I am a returning player in everything I have said concerning this, because I don't want people to think you're just another angry veteran. You're just another angry veteran player who's whatever, right? That's not what I am. I'm a returning player. Eve should want people like me to come back to the game, because new players apparently are not sticking around, because the new player experience may have been improved, but the game itself has not been. And if the game has not been improved, nobody's sticking around. New players are not going to stick around in the numbers that they want. So their focus should be on, one, retaining the players they already have, and two, bringing players like me who left a couple of years ago back into it, because we know what we're getting into. I left the game because it was rather boring at the time. I was in Test Alliance and we were getting ready to start another freaking war because the leadership wanted to. The players were, relatively speaking, looking to make some money. We had huge issues with making money. Things were being camped. We were losing capitals because QRFs and whatnot were not being launched fast enough. Stuff like that. And so I left because I just wasn't having fun anymore, right? I wasn't having fun. I come back a couple of days ago and this happens. So I feel like I'm responsible for this. I'm going to be completely honest, but we're going to listen to this. Let's get, excuse me. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's put on our headphones, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to go over here. It's on SoundCloud. It appears a goon recorded this, so we'll be listening to it. First couple of seconds are just dead air a la Tonka sauce, so we'll be listening to it. We're going to EFAP the shit out of this. I'm not sure how it's going to sound.
Okay. Just do a @CCP Paragon, and then I'll try to answer the question.
CCP Paragon is not a native English speaker. You can probably hear that in the accent. I don't know if he's from Iceland. So if things are lost in translation, which is a possibility, I'll try and catch it. But as I said, I haven't listened to this yet. I don't know what's going to be said. I've heard bits and pieces from other people. Oh, he says this, but we'll find out, shall we? It's not that long. It's actually about 41 minutes.
First one is from Abu Wahid. Is there going to be a significant content release to go with the change? Okay, let me just first address, well, the short answer is yes. So let me just first talk about the timing. We're doing this right before FanFest, and people are asking us, like, why are you announcing this before FanFest? People are just going to be mad. Yes, we know, but we didn't like just sitting on this until after FanFest. It was decided that we are going to do this, and rather than just holding on to it, we wanted to be upfront about it.
Okay, so first off, is there going to be a content release? Yes. Why didn't you announce that at the time? Because we want to save that for FanFest, but we didn't want to ruin FanFest by saying, by the way, there's going to be a price increase. Stupid decision because you've had 2 years of no content, no new content in the game. And then you say, hey, we're making you pay more for no content. That's how it comes along to other people. That's how I read it. You have to give a carrot with the stick. You have to give something good to offset the negative. CCP didn't do that here. And as a returning player, I'm looking at that and going, wow, I'm looking over all this stuff that has happened over the past year, 2 years, things that have been put into place and then taken back out because the players said this is a bad idea. And lo and fucking behold, it was a bad idea. It's almost like people knew that was going to happen. CCP decided to go with it. And then they're hoisting on their own petard. Oh shit, the player base was right. They didn't like it. It seems like they're throwing shit at the walls from everything I'm reading to see what sticks, what people like. And they've had a lot more failures than successes over the last few years. That's not a good thing. And then to come out after you have a drama fest last month with basically crossing the red line, the hard red line that the player base said they would not tolerate. You are not going to sell fitted ships for real money. You are not, we will not let you do this. CCP decided to test the waters, and CCP got their dick kicked in, and they got Spartan kicked back over that line and told to stay in their fucking lane. This is after Hilmar comes out and says, no NFTs, no crypto in the game. It's not for tranquility. NFT is not for tranquility. Then they tried that. They get kicked right the fuck back over the line, as they should have been. And now they need to make up money. They need to make money somehow. I'm going to give my opinion on why that is. I think it has to do with Russia and Ukraine. EVE Online has a massive Russian-speaking community. Huge. There are entire alliances. Space is owned by Russians. That space is known as Russian space. There is no other that I can remember. There is no other part of space that is known as the French Empire, the Germanic Empire, the Third Reich, the English speaking. There is none. There is Russians. Russian space. Russia, because of stupid sanctions that the governments of the West put on them, which, by the way, nobody else followed through on. It was just the West. And oh, by the way, those sanctions are being broken by the same governments that put it on them, right? Europe is going to pay for their gas that they need from Russia in rubles, thus strengthening the ruble, weakening the dollar, weakening their own currency because they kicked themselves in the fucking dick, right? But Russians removed from SWIFT. They can't pay for most of the stuff in the West now. It's almost like people knew that was going to happen. The only people being affected by these sanctions are the basic, the common Russian person, the Russian citizen is being hurt. The oligarchs aren't being hurt. They have money stashed away in the Cayman Islands and Switzerland. The politicians, same thing. They have money salted away in foreign banks that haven't been hit. The Russian citizen and Biden, I think it was Biden. I'm pretty sure it was Biden. Basically said the intent, they want to make it hurt the Russian people so they overthrow Vladimir Putin. That's right. Sanctions were never designed to hurt the oligarch or the politician. It was to hurt the Russian so that the Russian would then rise up against their government. In reality, it probably solidified to the Russians, the Russian person, that everybody else is against them. And Russians are a notoriously paranoid people. They take their history seriously. They are notoriously paranoid. That doesn't change. Great job. Great job. So I think a lot of this has to do with the loss of Russian income. And, with the Ukraine being bombed to hell, they're probably not playing either. So what are you going to do?
If you decide that you are happy with the things that are announced at FanFest, then that's great. If not, then understandable. But yeah, we absolutely wanted to do this upfront, and yes, we are announcing big content updates for FunFest. It's the largest one probably we've.
You probably should not say, if you like it, that's cool. If you don't like what we say, that's also cool. Really not a good PR stunt to pull. You should be hyped about it. You should not be downplaying it on the lead up to your fest, your fan fest. You should not be downplaying it. What are you thinking? That's like, I don't do PR stuff, right? I really don't do selling stuff because it's not, I'm really bad at selling myself, right? I really am. But even I know that if you want to sell yourself and sell your decision and sell what you're marketing, you don't downplay it. That's what Paragon just did. Why? This guy is part of the community management and PR team. He should know you don't do that. That was stupid.
Done. So the answer is yes.
Why didn't you tell us what the content is? This might be one of the few times where, you know what? I think you have to bring. I think FanFest needs to be put on the back burner. Tease it. Don't give out everything. Tease it. Be like, look, we are coming out with some great stuff for nullsec. Combat sites are going to be improved. You know, we're adding new combat sites. You know, you don't have to give a Cliff Notes version. Don't leak everything. Don't, leave a lot of it for FanFest. But tease something there. Right there was the perfect time to tease it. Hey, we got a lot of stuff coming out. All right, we got stuff coming out. Just to give you a taste, just a taste to whet your appetite, to make you really want to stick around and find out what's going on. Here's a little appetizer. The main course will come in 2 weeks. But here's an appetizer. Dead air. Not a good thing.
Evie Kuvo has a question. I guess the main question is why. The reason why is explained in the news item. This is to cover cost of business. Everything is more expensive, especially in the past few months. We have not increased prices, and we need to remain profitable. So price increase is the last resort to doing that.
They need to remain profitable because inflation has happened. I hate to break it to everybody. The developers of EVE Online don't really produce anything. They really don't. Content is pretty much supplied by the player base at this point. Has been for a while. It's a PvP-centric game. PvP games, the content usually comes from the players acting with one another, right? Invading stuff, killing one another, world PvP happening, stuff like that. In PvP games, that's the content. This isn't like World of Warcraft. This isn't like Elder Scrolls Online, where content can be thrown into the game by the company, and there you go. That doesn't mean that CCP can ignore such things. CCP has to create things to do between those sporadic fights. You might have a war in the south, and you might have daily battles. But between those battles, the players need something to do. The players need activities to make money or to relax and have fun, because unfortunately, being in a constant war, constant battle, moving from one to the next is taxing. It's boring. Eventually, people burn out. That's why during wars, you do see a lot of players just stop playing. The burnout is real. CCP is kind of taken away from the player base. And here you are.
Eve is doing pretty well. Like, don't get me wrong. in terms of like how do I say it? Like I don't want anyone to start freaking out like that Eve's in trouble or anything like that. But like this is it's better to do this now than to do it later. The primary reason for when I say early, like doing it now, I mean in the span of like 6 months to 12 months or even 2 years. The primary reason is because we lost Russia. That is the primary reason.
There you go. There's the reason. They lost Russia. That's why the price increase is happening. It's not inflation. That bullshit they gave us in that, we're raising it because of inflation, rising costs. It's because they lost Russia. 3 minutes in, we lost Russia. That's the primary reason. Probably said the silent part out loud. Oops. Oops. Here we are, though. Now we know exactly. Paragon is telling us the truth there. I think that's the first time CCP throughout this entire thing has told us the truth. Good on Paragon. Probably wasn't supposed to say that. He probably was not supposed to say that. But he did. Now we know. And you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Players now know. CCP's probably not going to be happy about that. But that's not my concern. Right? And then he goes on to say, Eve is in a good place, except they lost Russia. Except even before all this happened, the player numbers were dwindling, going down. And that's not just over the last 3 years. That's been a trend for the last 6, 7. It's been a constant decline. It's been slow. Maybe it hasn't been steady, but it has been going down. That's not likely to change anytime soon. And now raising the price at a time when you need to bring people back, sure, you just gave people 1 month at a reduced price. You can pay $10 rather than the, $15, right? But funny thing is they actually just took the $5 they took off, right? The $5 they took off of the game subscription this month, and just tacked it on for next month. So in reality, you're essentially paying over the next 2 months $30. So it's not really a savings. You're just kicking part of it down the road. Bad call.
Okay. Eric Aldelson, have you guys considered that you're going to lose a lot of players' alt subs? Will the increased profits from single sub cover everything they're going to lose? That's 2 questions. Let me do the first one. Have you guys considered that you're going to lose a lot of players' alts? Yes. That was a major concern for us. The problem with it is that we want to actually do something about it, but it wasn't ready. So we couldn't have it part of the announcement. But the idea that we're working on is that we're going to be offering, like we used to do the Power of 2 back in the day, where you would have an alt. But when we think about people who have more than 2 accounts, it doesn't really make sense to, or like we did not have the possibility to just spin that up on the spot for like what do we do if people have 3 accounts or 4 accounts or 5 accounts, and we wanted those to be more heavily discounted. We are absolutely working on having multiple accounts being discounted from having just 1 account. We just don't know what that is yet, but absolutely we are working on it. And what was the second part of the question again?
Okay, so really quickly, the first thing was the part of the question that he just answered is, were you afraid Or were you thinking about you might lose access? People might stop subbing alts. Yeah, we were thinking about that, and we have something in the works, but it wasn't ready to be announced. Engaging my brain housing group. If I know that that is a concern, and a very real concern, because Eve, or CCP Games rather, actively encourages people to have more than one account. In fact, for a lot of people, and I said this in my video on the topic, a lot of people have more than 2 accounts. If you're a super capital pilot, you definitely have more than 2 accounts, because you have at least one Sino alt, one fax alt, and then you probably have 2 or 3 fax alts, but then you also probably have a character you could throw into a ship and make ISK on, because you're probably not going to use the super capital to do that, especially after the nerfs to making money with carriers and super capitals in null. It's not specific to carriers and super capitals, but they are the ones that are affected the most. Okay, so not having that ready to go, not having thought that through, not having something to, knowing that that's probably going to be one of the main reasons people are really, really pissed at you, and not having a way to answer it, not going to help you. But he mentions the power of 2, which was something I think that came out in 2004, if I'm reading it correctly. But this is what it was, okay? The power of 2. For a limited time, CCP is offering current EVE players the opportunity to create an additional account with 6 months of gameplay for only $35. 6 months for the price of 3. That's what the power of 2 was. Really good deal. Don't get me wrong. That's a really good deal. Really good deal. But that wouldn't help people have more than 2 accounts. So you're not going to have that happen. Right? Not going to happen. All right, let's go back to here.
Sorry. Will increased profits from a single sub cover everything you're going to lose? I don't. Will the increased profits from a single sub cover everything going to lose? I'm not sure.
The answer is no. Increasing the price of the accounts, if people bring their account down to 1 and you lose 2, 3, 4 accounts. I know people are saying they have 10 to 18 accounts and they're closing down 17 of them, if not all 18, and moving them over to alpha status, the free-to-play status. No, you just lost a lot of money. The average number of accounts that EVE players have, the average is something like 1.4, 1.5. Okay, that means that the base is 1, because you can't have 0. You can't have less than 1. You start at 1, and it goes up. We don't know, like, the numbers. I don't know, at least. I don't know the numbers. How many people have 1 account? How many people have 2, et cetera, but probably not good. So if people decide not to unsub all their accounts, but unsub all their alts, congratulations. You lost money. Because even if people unsub 1 account, you go from making $30 a month to $20 a month. Bravo. Every person who unsubs an alt account is money that is lost for CCP. Because if you only have 1 account and you don't unsub it, sure, they may have gained $5 off of you, but they need, for every person that unsubs an account, they need 3 people with only 1 account to continue to play. Just to break even. You need 3 accounts per one that is deactivated at that point. Math is not going to work there. Especially with all the people just straight up unsubbing all their accounts. And I kind of have to wonder now, this week, are we going to see a dev blog saying mea culpa? We hear you loud and clear. We're not going to raise it 30%, 33%. We're going to raise it 10% or 15%. You guys won. I don't know if that'll go over well, because then it just looks like that was the plan all along, to gauge the reaction. And if people lost their shit, as they are, and if the blowback was 2011 Summer of Rage tier, well, look how good we are. We are listening to you loud and clear, and we are reducing the amount we're raising it by. Comes off as shitty.
I need just to prepare better for to answer that question. I need to ask the people who actually did the math on this. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
The short answer is no. The short answer is just no. It's not going to cover it. I don't think they're going to break even at this point. I don't think the revenue is going to be the same next month as it was this month. I think it's going to be lower. We'll find out. Or we really won't, because CCP really doesn't tell us that. But maybe we will. Who knows?
Don't prompt over me, so I don't know the answer to that question. But I'll absolutely try to get that. Let me actually write all of these down while I'm doing this.
Whoa, Kimosabi. Dead air.
How do you just Spectre 380? How do you justify being the most expensive MMO sub?
Not me. Different Spectre. Not me. Not me.
For one of the oldest games. I'm not sure that we're going to try to justify it, but I can explain to you.
If you're not going to justify it, you have just shot yourself in the... You are pointing your gun at your foot, pulling the trigger, and instead of hitting your foot, you shot yourself in the fucking dick. How are you going to say, I don't think we're going to justify it? If you're not going to fucking justify it, then you probably shouldn't do it. You can't come back and act like all surprised fucking Pikachu. Right? That fucking meme. Let me go find it. I need to find this meme. Because there was a meme that was poignant, shall we say? I need to find this. I saw it earlier today, and it's the meme of the guy shooting the other guy, and it has CCP and EVE Online's tags on it. And it says, "Why would the player base do this?" Yeah, I can't find it, so we're not gonna care. Okay, but anyways, the overall point is, if you're not gonna justify this, why are you doing it? You know it's gonna cause issues. You know people are gonna be upset about it. You know people are gonna be up in arms. You saw what happened in 2011. They're banking on a different type of player now. They are banking on a younger player base, a player base that wasn't here during the Summer of Rage in 2011. They're banking on a cyclical player base that is generally younger, right? One sec. Come on. There we go. Excuse me. They are banking on a cyclical player base that doesn't remember or wasn't there for 2011. And people like the Matani, myself, Brick House, I can't remember what his name is, something Rogel Dawn or something, I can't freaking remember. But anyways, people like that who were there, who remember it, who point to things that say, this is how a player base gets the company to listen. They're they're banking on people not being around who were around then and hoping it doesn't go that far. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going that far. And now they're going to have to deal with that. One sec. So they have to deal with that. Not going to end well. Not going to end well. But this is not good. This is not good for them. Let's continue.
Our point of view is from this. So when if we compare ourselves to other games, like they are all priced in the $14.99. Use a game where we have I think the average account for players is like 1.7 or something, which is higher than most other games. But many other
1.7, that's the average. No other game actively encourages players to have more than one account. None do. Eve is pretty much the sole exception there. But it's okay. They're not going to justify this decision. Okay.
Games just they do a better job at monetizing microtransactions, and they also have an expansion-based model where you're obviously getting a lot of content for the price you pay when you buy the expansion. But we are currently like if you look at the total picture, like we were slightly below what the other games were, and now we are slightly above. When I say slightly, I mean like 10% or so. With like the total of games, if you want me to compare to a specific game, then that I can do that. But
the reason that game companies sell the expansions is, one, you get a lot of content with those expansions. New dungeons, new story, new quests. In many instances, you get new levels, new characters, new skills, balancing old skills, stuff like that. There hasn't been a major content update in Eve in over 2 years at this point. There hasn't. Sure, they've added new ships. They've added some new modules. They've changed some mechanics, only to then in future patches revert those changes because they don't work as they were told they wouldn't. But as a general rule, you pay for an expansion because you're getting a lot more. A lot more. Whereas Eve, they struggle to put out a content patch apparently every couple of years. So this is not an apples to apples. This is an apples and oranges scenario. You're not comparing the same thing. But also, notice what he said. He wanted to say, for now, we're giving away content expansions for free. I've said in my posts, I said in my video, there is a specific line all the way up. Okay, we're going to come over here. We're going to come over here. The new prices on Omega include all upcoming content releases. It's really reinforcing, and that's right here, by the way. Okay. All upcoming content releases. This is reinforcing what I've said, that they are planning for paid content, paid expansions. More than likely paid content, not paid expansions. At this point, I'm pretty much convinced that is how they plan to help monetize this game. So not only are they going to increase the amount that you're paying for a subscription, they're also going to make you pay for content releases if you're not paying for one. Now, other games do this. Dungeons & Dragons Online does this. Elder Scrolls Online does it. But they also put out content fairly regularly, thus making their subscription model kind of make sense in that regard. If the player base is getting more content, they're more willing to pay money for the subscription. If they don't get content for 2 fucking years, they are not willing to pay a subscription. And taking stuff away from alphas and moving it over to omegas does not mean that the omega account, this paid subscription, is worth it. Doesn't mean you're getting something new with the omega. It just means that you're removing something from free-to-play players. For example, level 4, level 5 missions now only can be done under omega accounts. You have to pay to do them. Ostensibly, this was put out to help fight against botting. Here's my fucking question. How does it fight against botting when with alpha accounts you can't be logged into that account if there is another account open? If you have an omega account, you can't log into an alpha account if it's on right then and there. How does it fight against botting? Never. I was scratching my head trying to figure that out because I was like, how does that work? And nobody's really answered that question. Nor do I expect them to. Make that very clear. I don't expect them to. Let's continue on.
Yes, it's more expensive, and like the justification is we are going to be doing a lot of work on EVE. When I say lot, I mean a lot. This requires investment, namely employees. So that's the primary reason behind it is.
What content are you working on? You haven't given anybody, you've kind of blue-balled people. Oh, it's coming, don't worry. But CCP has a habit. They have a well-known track record of promising shit that doesn't pan out. Literally look at the stuff that has happened over the last 2 fucking years with CCP Ratataki or whatever his fucking name is. We're just going to call him Rat. Okay? CCP Rat. All the things he's put out. And then look at how many of those have had to be rolled back because it doesn't play out the way he says it will. It's almost like he doesn't play the fucking game. And the player base is supposed to sit here and go, okay, we can go with this. We should take you at your fucking word. Even though your word hasn't meant shit for years. You keep promising us stuff, and then it doesn't come to fruition, or it doesn't work the way you think it will. And you take it away, or you revert it, because it doesn't work. The problem is that Fozziesov, Dominion? I can't remember what expansion came up. When they completely changed sovereignty, there was a lot of blowback because it did not seem like it was well thought out. And CCP pretty much ignored it until people just gave up and accepted that this is going to be the norm. This is how it's going to be. I will not be surprised if a lot of these changes are going to be ignored until the player base just rolls over and accepts that as the norm. The CCP does that. CCP does that. Because they can't take L after L after L. CCP does that, though.
We are going to be reinvesting this into EVE Online.
I'm pausing so quickly. Bullshit! How many games have you guys come out with that have just failed? Dust, something Jack, I can't remember what it's called. You had like let me fucking see it. Like Gunjack or something like that. Okay, here's all the products for CCP. EVE Online, Spark, EVE Valkyrie, EVE Gunjack 2, EVE Gunjack. None of these are actually, with the exception of EVE, none of these are actually working. They're all in maintenance mode pretty much. That's not including the World of Darkness RPG that they came out with, right? They came out with Dust, and Dust died not because it was a bad option. It actually had a lot of potential. It did. It had potential. The main problem is they made it a PlayStation exclusive. Yeah, it was a PlayStation exclusive. It was an FPS that tied into the EVE universe. It was a great concept. A great concept. And they killed it because they made it PlayStation exclusive. Didn't work. That 1, 2, 3. There's 4 things that are either in maintenance mode or just whatever. And the World of Darkness. Incarna comes up with the captain's quarters because they wanted to test out their new engine that they created. I think it's called Carbon. And they wanted to test it out and get it ready for the World of Darkness MMO that they were putting together. Where's Walking in Stations now? The captain's quarters. Non-existent. Where's the World of Darkness MMO? Gone. EVE doesn't seem like it's getting too much money reinvested into it when you have Spark, Valkyrie, Gunjack 2, and Gunjack. Money that could have been spent on EVE. The only thing making you money. Just something to think about. Just something to think about.
Creature with such an honest lack of new content, how can you seriously justify a price increase? I think I just answered that.
You didn't. You absolutely did not.
Why is CCP not making money in the base?
You absolutely did not. With the lack of content, how can you justify it? I answered that. No, you didn't. You didn't justify a damn thing. In fact, you said the exact opposite. We're not going to justify it. Here, let's. It's 7:35. Let's go back here. Okay. Oh, come on, really? I'm not going to log in. Let me Let me really quickly. Okay, let's bring this back up. Come over here. Oh, come on, really? Screw you. I can't even do that. So I ain't logging in. I'm not logging in. I'm just checking something really quick. You said the exact opposite, though. You're not going to justify it.
Community has asked you to skins, cutters, alliance content. Why do you push CCP sponsorships and subscription increase over what we're begging for? Okay, let's wait for FanFest to answer that one.
No. Well, we've given you so many. The question was, we've given you so many options for monetization to help you with the game. Skins, cat ears, because all of you are motherfucking degenerate motherfuckers. All right? Y'all are degenerate motherfuckers. We want cat ears. Alliance skins, corporation skins, skins for bosses, Raytarus and Estra houses and stuff like that. We've given you all these options, things that are already in the game. Skins are already in the game. It's not like you have to do a lot of work to take the skins. Go, we're gonna make it for Satoyus and whatnot. It's not like you'd have to do a lot of work. Instead, you've ignored it. You have ignored it. And as such, you won't answer that. We've given you so many options. Why won't you answer that? Oh, you'll just have to wait for FanFest for that. Why? Are they going to answer that at FanFest? The answer is probably no. The answer is probably no. So, maybe answer the question now. Because that's a non-answer. You didn't answer the last question, really. In fact, the answer you gave, I'll say you answered the question. You gave the answer that was the exact opposite of what you said it was. And then you didn't answer this one.
Asterothi, do you feel that CCP provides more through EVE Online than WoW or Final Fantasy XIV? Do you really feel that what you have is so good as to explain that? Okay, I play all of those.
The question, by the way, was you said that EVE offers more than World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14. How do you still is that how you're going to justify the price increase?
Those games. Do we provide more than World of Warcraft? Absolutely.
Do we provide more than World of Warcraft? Absolutely. No, you fucking don't. World of Warcraft puts out content patches every couple of months, new raids and new zones and new quests and stuff like that. When was the last time you had a major content patch? We're going to go back to it. When was the last time you had a major content patch for EVE?
Tried playing the latest expansion. It was garbage. I quit.
I agree. The last expansion for WoW was garbage. The expansion before that was garbage. But it's still more content. It could be garbage, but at least they're putting out content. The same cannot be said for EVE. The same cannot be said for EVE.
The first rate here, it was really bad. Final Fantasy is actually pretty good right now. Like, that's just, yeah, it's my opinion. It's a good game. Whether we think that it's better as a unit, like as an entity, yeah, sure. But that question is more like, which game do you prefer? Is kind of, or which game do you think?
So yeah, they just admitted that Final Fantasy 14 is a better game than EVE. You're not really selling this to the players. You are not selling this raise to the players. Final Fantasy 14 is a better game than EVE. They're not raising the price. We are. You're not selling the player base at that point.
More valuable. It's an individual based question. Like, which game do you like more? If you're asking CCP whether we like EVE Online, then yes, we like it more than other games. I hope I wasn't trying to weasel out of that one, but I hope you get what you mean. Do you think the content coming out is worth the extra 34%? From Redline. Well, okay. So the 35%, it's correct. It's absolutely correct number. It's the price for a single Omega count. And it's probably going to be a price for other Omega counts. The base price for other Omega counts until we fix the alt thing, which is our highest priority. I think after FunFest,
their priority is fixing all the alt pricing, not content. Yeah, you're not selling this.
We're gonna do. Don't hang me on this, but after FunFest, we're gonna do a big sale, as we've always done. So, like that percentage price is not necessarily what you like. Everyone is going to have to pay. Not saying that isn't the number that you did the math on. It's correct, but do I personally think the content coming out is worth the extra 34%? Yes. The things I've seen for FunFest personally are probably the coolest things we've done in a pretty long time.
Tease it. Fucking tease it. Whet the appetite. Get them salivating. Get the player base who's listening to this salivate. I can't wait. I can't wait to sink my teeth into this new content that's coming out. Give the player base something. Fucking something to get excited for. Give them just a morsel. A little taste test of what's coming. This vague posting shit always pisses me off, and it pisses other people off. People do not want this vague posting bullshit. They want specifics. Don't leak the entire thing, but you can go into generalities. Hey, look, guys, I know you're pissed about this, but let's give you a taste of some of the content coming. We got some new content coming in the form of some rewrites and redos of combat sites in nullsec and lowsec, because we know that those have been hurting. It's been a little, we had the AI changes a couple of years ago, but really nothing else has happened. Missions are going to be a little more, what's it called? They're going to be a little more challenging, right? Payout will be a little better, right? Payout will be a little better, but the risk versus reward. We're increasing the risk and the reward. We might have to fine tune it. It's something new. Our testing looks good. The risk and reward look pretty good, but we're excited to get that out to you. Nullsec. We know you guys have been pissed about nullsec. The scarcity issue, we've been telling you for a while. We got a plan for it, and we're going to keep going ahead on that plan. Here's what we're doing with minerals. Here's what we're doing with the combat sites, scanning them down. Stuff like that. Combat sites, escalations. We're working on trying to make it so that escalations are a little more common. We don't want them to be too common. We want the loot to be better. If you scan down a site, we want the loot to be better. So, more tier 4 stuff. You even have a chance, not just at faction and dead space loot, but you have a chance that actual tier 2 stuff will drop. Now, that might not seem like something huge, right? Tier 2 stuff, who cares? But being able to get that as a drop could be fun. Tier 2 ammo, right? We're going to make it so that the ammo the faction ammo that drops, all the faction cruisers and battleships and whatnot, the special, not the base ones, but the essentially tier 2 mobs, they're all going to drop ammo for their respective faction. So Sancho could drop Sancho will drop Sancho crystals for weapons, stuff like that. Something like that. Give the players something. Which, by the way, the ammo thing would actually be kind of cool. That would actually be kind of cool, right? Obviously, that's LP stuff, but not everybody wants to do, especially when you're out there killing off Blood Raiders. You're not going to the Blood Raider headquarters going, hey, I want you some loyalty points, because you don't have any. You don't have any standings with them, right? So, something like that would be cool. Something like that would be cool. But give them something. Give us something to get excited about. Because right now, all we have is you saying, oh, guys, FanFest is going to be great. You're giving us nothing to be excited for. Nothing. And the new players who are coming in are seeing the old players get pissed because, again, you decided to fuck around. And those players are not going to continue to play for long, especially because if you've ever played EVE, the first couple of months, it's boring. Learning the game. You're skilling things up. A lot of those skills do not get you into new ships. You have to get engineering up to 5, electronics up to 5. You have to get capacitor stuff up to 5. You want to get your, your armor and shield and stuff like that. And you basically get all of that up to 5, right? You might level up weapons and cruiser to 4, because it doesn't take that long to get to that point. So you can fly a new ship as you go up to tier 2 and level 2 and level 3 missions, right? Or to get into some kind of doctrine for an alliance or a corporation you're in, just to be able to do something with them. You don't want to be a burden. But other than that, you're spending a month or two having ancillary skills up to 5. That's really boring. That's really fucking boring. I remember doing it. I remember doing it on 2 accounts. really fucking boring. Just saying. All right, so give the players something. Maybe they will this week. Maybe they'll tease something. Won't hold my breath. But, if you had done something like that here, maybe the player base wouldn't be up in arms. Or at least maybe the pitchforks would have been lowered just a little bit.
CCP Paragon from High Admiral. Is Korea making this? Or is this coming from CCP? Everything we do comes from us. It's not really... There are no mandates that come from Pearl Abyss when it comes to the running of CCP games.
Keep in mind that I can't remember if they were bought out or if Pearl Abyss became a majority shareholder in CCP, but 5 or 6 years ago, Pearl Abyss, the makers of Black Desert Online, did do something where I think they ended up taking over, or they became like the parent company of CCP Games. And if you know anything about Asian MMOs and whatnot, they are grind fests and they are all about the microtransactions. So it's a valid question to ask. But he says, no, CCP makes all these decisions, which, okay, cool. So we know that Pearl Abyss should not, Pearl Abyss, could you just step to the side a little bit? Just step to the side a little bit. We really want to get CCP there.
Almost any capacity that I'm aware of, at least. Seriously ask, it's not explained in the news. In the news you say to cover new content, and there's been no content. Yeah, the content will be announced on FanFest, but we wanted to announce it ahead of time because we felt it was a bit of a rug pull to do the announcement first and then say that we're going to be raising prices. And you can think of that all you like, but at least you can meet us face to face and tell us how you feel about it. We're not gonna hide behind the monitors.
You could have, instead of announcing it now, you could have decided we're going to announce it at FanFest. Look, all the stuff's coming. We have all the stuff on. We are working on it. We're not just saying we are going to work on it. We are working on it right now. How is in the ever we're looking at raising the subscription price? Now, I know FanFest is supposed to be the BlizzCon, right? Nothing but positivity. Everybody's hyped. Everybody, yes, let's do it. Fucking go. But in this case, this might have been one of the times where you actually did want to temper expectations, temper people's responses with the cold, hard facts. I have a lot more respect if you just say, look, I know it sucks, but we're doing this. And be honest about the reasoning. Be honest about the reasoning. Don't do this. It's because of inflation. No, it's not. Paragon said it now. The main reason is because of the sanctions against Russia, which are preventing Russian citizens who have done nothing wrong from being able to do literally anything. It's because you lost Russia, and it hurts. And I think we can all understand that.
Sitting on this, we'll rather just tank it in person. That's fine.
It was a really bad decision by CCP to put out the negative news on a Friday right before they all go home, right? You see politicians do this too. See politicians do this as well. They put out news that they know will piss people off on a Friday night so they can spend the entire weekend ignoring the blowback. Not a good decision. And you didn't temper it with anything positive. You actually called Paragon, who was on vacation, by the way. CCP Paragon was on fucking vacation. And you screwed it up so bad that you had to go running to him on his fucking vacation, drag him kicking and screaming into the fucking Discord to handle this shit. And you want to say that you knew this stuff was going to happen, you were ready for it. Everything that you have put out now, every decision you have made up to this fucking point tells me, the player, tells me, the consumer, that you didn't think any of this through, that you are incompetent, that you are singularly incapable of engaging your brain housing group and thinking just a little fucking bit. And here we are now. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for you to give me something to give a shit about. I am waiting for you to give me something to give a shit about. You haven't done it. I have no interest garnered. I have no interest in any of this shit. I'm a little nettled. I'm a little annoyed. But I haven't been playing for 3 years. So while I might be a little nettled and annoyed, the people who have been around for the last 3 years are absolutely fucking livid because they've lived through the content drought of the last 2 to 3 years. The lack of content from CCP. The broken promises, the stupid decisions. And then this comes along, and all of a sudden, there's some fucking Vietnam-esque flashbacks to 2011. And people are now they're grabbing their pitchfork and saying, baby, I missed you. And they're going out to Iceland. They're going out to Reykjavik. You think this is going to help you? It won't.
These increases have happened in 2020. Teddy GBIC. No, they have not. We do regular currency exchange adjustments, but based on the US dollar, it's been remained the same since 2004.
I actually don't know what he was saying there. It sounded like he was saying everything is based around the US dollar, as it should be. And all the prices are based around that with no exchange or no conversion to Australian dollars. Again, $20 for the US is $25 for Canada? Something like that. $27.50 for Australia. Something like 8 million Venezuelan bolivars. I mean, it doesn't help them. You know, I'm an American nationalist, but even I step back and go, look, you can't just, base everything around this is what the United States dollar does. And not consider that person in Brazil where the median is 1,200 Brazilian reals. Let me see what the okay, so 19. So 1999 US is 95 Brazilian reals. The median is something like 1,200. So they are spending for an account, a 12th of their income, monthly income on an account. Doesn't work. It does not work.
To genuinely, personally expect users to be happy enough with the new content releases that they will ignore the last few years of being jerked around / lied to. Do I personally believe this? I mean, yeah, that's a decision that you personally have to make for yourself.
Great non-answer. Do I believe it? Well, that's something that you have to answer for yourself. No, the question was, do you believe it? Good try to sidestep. Good non-answer. Real PR shit.
I've personally had a great time in EVE for the past 2 years, but you just have to make the decision yourself. Ithaca Hawk asks, would you rather fight a price increased sized rifter or 50 rifter sized price increases? Thanks for that one. 50 rifter sized price increases, absolutely. Go big. Hi Admiral says, why are you not focusing on growing PCU before squeezing your players away? I mean, we are focusing on building the player base of EVE Online. This is a part of it. It requires us to do things which we cannot afford unless we raise the prices.
Okay, so PCU, I believe, is peak concurrent users. Believe that's what that means. I could be wrong. Gaming. Yeah, peak concurrent users. So, how during your peak time, the number of players that are playing your game. Okay, I thought that's what it was. And how do you raise that? How do you increase that? Well, first off, we're going to raise the price of a subscription by 33%. Now again, that's 33% not taking into account conversion rates. So while Americans will pay $20 per account, Australians will pay $27.50. Brazilians will pay 95 reals. The Venezuelans, Venezuelans I think are playing the game to begin with, is something like 8 million bolivars, unless the calculator was wrong. That's always a possibility. That is always a possibility. Always possibility. But how do you plan to do it? Oh, we're going to start off by raising the price of a subscription. Stupid decision. Now, given they just paid streamers outside of the EVE sphere to play the game, to try to draw in some of their viewers to play the game. And going along with that, they had just announced a 30% discount on subscriptions up until I think it's 24th. So tomorrow. So if you pay for a month, you only get it for 1 month. You can get it for $10. Of course, next month you're paying $20. So really, you're not really a discount unless you only play for 1 month. Just saying. I'm just saying. And again, if you're just starting out in the game, there is literally no reason to pay for a subscription. It's not like you can fly T2 ships in that. Well, generally speaking, it's not like you can fly a tier 2 ship, maybe an assault frigate or something, but you're not going to be able to fly it well. So you might as well just stay in alpha. Sure, you skill up slower. How is in the ever? However, you are getting more bang for your buck at that point because you're not spending money. All like new content has come out. How's it going here, Juice? And how's it going, Wingless?
That's the unfortunate reality. There was Ivy. Do you believe the increased price will cover you the cost of business while most of the players will unsubscribe? Well, we don't think most of the players will unsubscribe.
You also didn't think most of the players would unsubscribe in 2011. You were wrong then, too. You were wrong. Probably not a good idea at this point to say, yo, nothing coming down the pipe right now, but we're raising the price, and we don't think most of you will unsubscribe. You have literally, in a time of $6 fucking a gallon for gas, have just picked up a gallon, thrown it on the fucking fire. That right there, we don't think most people will unsubscribe. You were wrong before. You can be wrong again. And in fact, I bet you're wrong again. But we'll find out, won't we? By the way, they are banking on you buying 3, 6, 1-year subscription plans because it's cheaper that way. The other reason they want you to do it is because when they do something like this and you're in the middle of a 1-year plan, you can't show your support for the people who are against these decisions by unsubscribing with them because you're subscribed. And even if you cancel now and you're in the middle of it and you have 6 months left on your subscription, well, that's just 6 months that they don't have to give a shit. That's 6 months that they can act like they have a chance to fix it. So when that year ends, they can get you to pay again. Not good. Not good.
If we thought most of the players would unsubscribe, then we would be doing this. We believe that we know that, like, some people.
I want to bring this up because back in 2011, and I know I'm harping on it, but it is the quintessential moment when everything went to shit for CCP. I'm going to bring this over. Okay? It's this first paragraph. Hilmar Wenger Peterson, the CEO of CCP at the time, but the CEO of it today. During the summer of rage, when people were already unsubscribing in large numbers, were already shooting Jita, were already fucking around in the game because they were pissed, sent out an email. And part of that email read the following. Currently, we are seeing very predictable feedback. That was not emphasized by me. That was emphasized in the email on what we are doing. Having the perspective of having done this for a decade, I can tell you that this is one of the moments where we look at what our players do and less of what they say. Innovation takes time to set in, and the predictable reaction is always to resist change. Back then, Hilmar told people, look at what they do, not at what they say. And you know what ended up happening? They pivoted on what they were planning to do. They pivoted. Because what the players did was kick them in the dick and remind them who controls the purse strings. And Hilmar, when that got leaked, a lot of egg on his face. Just egg all over his face. Because the greed is good leak pissed them off. That wasn't supposed to be leaked. But it was. Setting off the entire thing. You know, kind of interesting how that works. Wingless Shikami says, going good. I honestly wonder if they are short on cash because of the Doctor Who event they thought would bring in a lot of players. That's a possibility, and I didn't even know about it until I heard about it on the meta show earlier today. I don't know what's going on, so I'm not going to speculate on it. But I think over the last, as I said, they've consistently been losing players for at least the last 6 years. EVE is nothing innovative. EVE isn't having new content. EVE is stagnant right now. EVE picks up players when there is a major war. Because major wars make it into the PC gaming tabloids. We'll just call them tabloids. It's not what I'm looking for. Media. We'll go with media, right? So PC Gamer and massively OP and stuff start talking about it because it's huge. It's a huge thing. The entire universe of EVE Online is burning right now, and we're going to cover it. And that's when EVE Online gets a bunch of fucking publicity, and that is when they get a bunch of people coming in because they want to be part. If they can't be part of this one, they want to be part of the next one. Because it sounds fun, it looks fun, and then, a month later, they just leave because it's a boring shit show. The hardest part of this game is the first 6 months. I'm saying that right now. The hardest part of this game, or at least it was when I was playing, when I was going through the first 6 months on my accounts, the hardest part was the first 6 months. We didn't have skill injectors where you could just inject skill points, right? We didn't have that. We did not have it. What we had was skilling up the old-fashioned way. And part of the problem with EVE is that EVE is one of those games where you look at the things that are out there because they're all around you. You see a golem fly past you, you're like, I want that. You see a freaking Vendetta fly past you in low sec as it murders the fuck out of your entire fleet, and you go, I want that. You see these cool things. You hear about the Titans, you hear about the super carriers, and you're like, I want to be in that. And the problem is that in MMO, you can't focus on the end game when you're starting out, because if you do, you're going to push yourself too hard. You're going to burn out really fast. You have to take small increments. In World of Warcraft, when I started playing it, I saw the stuff at level 60. I wanted to take part in that, but I was more excited about the journey to get there. I was excited about the journey. I can't wait to hit level 10. Right? Actually, that's a bad one because I was playing Alliance, so nothing really at level 10. Okay? I can't wait to hit level 16 or 18 when I could run freaking Dead Mines. I can't wait until level 27 when I could run Stockade. I can't wait to hit level 33 when I can start running the 4 instances of Scarlet Monastery. I can't wait to hit Moradin. I can't wait to get to Feralus. I can't wait to hit all of these things. I can't wait to hit the 55 to 60 when I can start getting set items in Blackrock and Blackwing. I can't wait for this. The journey was just so much cooler. EVE Online doesn't have that. EVE Online doesn't have that journey. It doesn't. And so the players are pretty much left looking at the super carriers, the Marauders, the Black Ops, all these things that are out of their reach by at least 6 months, and just counting down the days until they get to be able to fly that. There is no journey in EVE Online in the conventional sense. And that hurts EVE Online more than it helps it. Because without that journey, the players don't have much else. Without that journey, all they have is the end. Sure, they might get into a Cerberus and go out there and run. They might get into a Nightmare and run some incursions. But that's not the same journey. That's not the same feeling as the first time you went into a dungeon in an MMO. It doesn't even matter if it's a new MMO or not. look, I loved my first dungeon in Final Fantasy 14. But it didn't have the same oomph as the first time I was summoned to the Dead Mines and I went in and I worked with a party to clear it. It didn't have that same feeling. Eve just doesn't have that feeling. Your first major fleet battle might be cool up until the tie-dye hits and you're like, God damn it, this is fucking boring. But that's how Eve is. That's how Eve is. And it sucks. I wish it wasn't like that. I wish there was something to make me go, oh my God, this is so great. We don't have it though. And it's really fucking sad. What's this? Gilded.
Are gonna unsubscribe. We know this. Hopefully, what we show you is good enough so that you stay. Like, that is the hope. That's the idea.
We hope you stay.
Connor O'Brien, wouldn't have made sense to do this increase alongside some good content, like full pirate ship trees, new ships, alliance skins. Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. That's the idea. We just we haven't said what the content is yet. You will still have time.
The idea was to do this alongside content, not announcements of content, with content. That's what was asked. Wouldn't it have been a good idea to do this alongside new content? Well, that was the plan, and we're going to announce it. An announcement is not content because an announcement means that it's coming out anywhere from tomorrow to 2 years from now. And the players want something now. So unless that content is literally guaranteed to be coming out the week of FanFest, it doesn't matter to the players. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Decide after you know what that is. Soren asks, are devs getting a 30% raise? No. I wish it was so, but unfortunately it's not. At least not that I'm aware. I might need to talk to my boss, but...
The devs are not getting a raise. But the price is going up. So you know where that money's going. Right in the pockets of Hilmar. That's where the money's going. Not going to the devs who are making the game. Not going to the PR people who are trying to polish this turd. You know, if they actually paid decent wages, right, they might actually have a decent PR team. Unfortunately, they've never had a really good PR team. Ever since, was it Falcon? I think it was Falcon left. Ain't gonna happen.
I don't think so. But the CCP refused to create a shitload of skins that would undoubtedly create a ton of new revenue for CCP. Yeah, selling skins is not something we can scale infinitely at some point.
It doesn't matter if you can scale it infinitely. If I see a fucking... I'm going to use... I think it was Brickhouse's... I can't remember what his name is, right? Analogy. I can't scale it infinitely. If I see $1 on the fucking ground, am I thinking... I'm not going to pick that up because I can't scale that infinitely. No, I'm thinking, holy crap, $1 and I'm taking it. And then I'm going to like buy like, I don't know, a pack of gum or something like that, right? That's it. I don't care that I can't scale that infinitely. It's giving me money now, which I'll be honest, that's what it sounds like CCP needs right now. Money now. Certainly seems that way.
stop buying more skins. I'll have to talk to my senior monetization seller as to like what the actual limit is on on how much that can be scaled, or why we aren't scaling it more, or what's the scaling on that. But as I understand it, it's not something that we just want to or can do. I mean,
you have people who come out of like alliance skins. Do you think goons, right? You think the CFC or the Imperium, if it was announced that there were alliance skins coming out, do you think goons would not buy those? For all their Reitarus, all their Satoyos, all their Keepstars, all their ships. Do you honestly believe goons wouldn't buy that? Test wouldn't buy that? Well, not the Russians. I was going to say Russians, but they wouldn't buy it because they can't. You honestly believe they wouldn't? You have the technology in game to do it. You have all the assets already in game. Why not do it? Why not do it? You have literally no reason not to. It's money now. It's money now. But they can't scale it infinitely. That is the dumbest fucking answer I've heard in this entire thing. Really not. I'm going to say it's hyperbolic.
To just sell skins.
Dead air.
Let me see. Eric Adelson. Are you claiming CCP would not be profitable with a 30% increase on sub prices? Who exactly is doing your math?
Common sense is doing the math there, buddy. Common sense. If I have to drop accounts to be able to stay at or roughly near the amount that I was paying previously, you break even. You're back to the numbers that you had previously. That's not a net gain. That's not a net gain. For every account that's dropped as an Omega, you need 3 people to stay on just to break even. And that's assuming current pricing for the account, it's being canceled when the new price starts. To get the same amount, if you are being paid $15 for an account now, and when the $20 hits, it's canceled, that's now 0, which means you need those 3 other accounts that are now paying $20 to break even. Common fucking sense is doing that math. And I'm fucking terrible with math. Just to give you an idea, I said it was a 25% increase because I took $20 and took away the 5 to get 15. In reality, I should have been saying, oh, it's actually a 33% increase because they're adding 5 to the 15. I'm fucking terrible with math. I do stupid stuff like that with basic arithmetic. But even I'm sitting back and going, no.
Not sure on that one. If we did what we are going to do, like the increased investment we're putting into EVE without doing this, then yes, it would. I don't think it would be profitable. Foxholes are, as a core perspective, lose over 50% of the total accounts. How do you expect the rest of the game to fare, and how much of an effect will have this on the wider EVE community? Yes, I'm guessing this is based on the alt thing again. We are working on a solution for the alts. I know this is a pretty...
If you lose 50% of the player base right now, we'll just say accounts. All right, say you have 100 accounts. All right, I'm gonna open up the calculator. So let's say we have 100 accounts. each paying $14.95. You are making $1,495 per month. All right? So let's keep that in the back of our heads, $14.95. Now let's say you lose 50% of them. Okay? So now you have 50 accounts paying $19.99. You're getting $999.50, which means you have actually lost roughly $500. Congrats, you played yourself. That's not profitable. If the $1,400 was not profitable for you, then the $999 is definitely not going to be profitable for you. Because now you're in the red. And you're trying to stay out of that. It's your reasoning here. So it's not going to be profitable if you lose 50% of the accounts. I'm just saying.
Fortunate messaging. That is not ready. This is something that I personally and the rest of the community team harped on from day one since we learned about this. And everyone was very welcome to this suggestion. Like we know that alts are a major thing, and for you to be able to play the game with this many accounts and a price increase like this, we need to discount that in some way. That's the plan. We just don't know what that is yet.
So they plan, and we talked about this earlier. They have a plan to discount alts, but it's not ready, right? He just said it's not ready. They don't know how exactly they're going to do it, but they're still going to raise the price of accounts across the board. Across the board, accounts are being raised. Price is being raised. It seems half-assed. It seems this is a knee-jerk reaction that hasn't had a lot of thought put into it, especially after Hilmar came out and said no NFTs of crypto in EVE. You know, the player base rightfully stood up and said, no, we're not going to tolerate you selling ships for real-life money. Then they come out and say, okay, plan C, I guess we raised the price of accounts. Well, what about people that we have encouraged for over a decade, almost 2 decades, to have more than one account? Yeah, we'll figure something out down the line. Are you retarded? What the fuck is in the water in Iceland that this seems like it's a good idea? How many stupid pills did they take on Friday before putting this out? All good questions. Questions that should be answered, by the way. And of course they won't, as they are unwilling to do. We're not going to answer those questions because we don't answer questions.
So someone's saying, so what you're saying is if you guys don't increase prices, that would be the end? No, absolutely. EVE is doing just fine, like right now, just as it is. But if you want to do big expansion level content, like really big stuff, then we need to expand.
EVE is doing fine as is. Let's go to Steam charts. And actually, I just want to point out that Steam charts for EVE is really not the best indicator for how the game is doing, because more people play on... Actually, I'm going to open up. Okay, so right now, it is 0742 in Iceland, right? There are currently... right now, 19,328 players on Tranquility. Okay? I'm not going to show my account because not going to show my accounts. Not going to happen. So keep that in mind. 19,328 players. And right now, Steam chart says that there are right now 3,231. Okay, so not the best, to give you an idea. But even if we accept that, okay, that it's roughly a little less than 1/6 of the player base. All right. And we'll say that average players is probably peak players. We'll go with peak players. Okay. March 4,853, which would mean there would be about the peak would have been about 24,000, we'll say 25,000, right? So this would have been 30,000. This would have been about 33,000, right? You can see just the decline. November 2020. What happened in November 2020? Online content update November 2020. I want to see what happened in November 2020. December 2020 dropped. Okay, so let's see. Patch notes 18.11, which was roughly about the time. 11:10. There we go. Okay, so 2020, 11:10. Okay, so keep going, see what happens. Okay, I'm looking at this. This appears to be patch notes. Okay. So what happened November 2020? 11:12. Let's see. 11:10. Okay, so we'll go down. Okay, this is 11:10. This appears to be it. All right, so what happened is Wyvern and Aeon fighter damage bonus increased from 5 to 7.5. Heavy fighter hit points. Light fighter speed reduced by 10. Signature increased by 10. By the way, fuck you. I fire a goddamn fucking Nidhogger. Fuck you. Super carrier ship maintenance bay capacity. Celebrate the completion of the Gita 4.4 upgrade with Empire parades across New Eden and a new login campaign in its honor. So that was probably the reason that so many people logged in, was the event. In null security systems, high security, low security, wormhole, Triglavian system excluded. Yes, because it's nullsec, it's 0/0 space. All of those, actually, wormhole is technically 0/0, but it's not nullsec. System activity will now impact ratting payouts positively or negatively. Let's see. ESS update. ESS is no longer optional and will be present by default in all claimable null security space. Dumb. Let's see. ESS will unique set of on grid. Percentage of the bounties generated in the source will be delivered to the ESS bank. The take will be split between two banks. The main bank, majority of the money goes here. Okay. The point is this is probably the reason, the event. That's why. But notice how little was actually in here that people wanted. There was nothing in here. Okay, so that should give you an idea. Okay. By the way, that appears to be the, let's see, that was 2020. The first time that peak numbers on Steam broke 10,000 on Steam. Yeah. Doesn't look like Steam broke 10,000 at any other point. Embarrassing. So that should give you an idea of that shit show. So is even a healthy spot? Well, the numbers have been kind of consistent. Peak players, with the exception of that. But is that healthy? I don't think it is. And then to come out and say, well, if we want to do all these large expansion like content, we need more money. Maybe you should have done some kind of an expansion content beforehand and then announced it. Look, we're working on stuff and we're actually putting stuff out. Please give us more money. Then it would be a little more palatable. Then people would be a little more willing to actually listen. People would be a little more willing to take you at your word. But you're not doing that.
And to expand, we need funding to reinvest into EVE Online.
Expand. What are you going to expand? Because you guys have shut down so many offices and fired so many people over the last 11 years. What are you going to expand? Because if I heard, we're expanding, we need people for the new office, I'd be looking at the history going, oh, hell no. Because I'll be there for at most a year before they shut everything down. Reinvest in EVE Online. Maybe if you were investing in EVE Online to begin with, people would believe you. Whoa, Kimosabe. Dead air.
So, Abu8, have you looked at an alternate revenue source from the game? More cosmetic, monetization, or similar? Yes, absolutely. Wow, it would be real easy if I could just talk about what they are. The idea is that, fuck it, I'm just going to say it. Some of them are going to be tied into Omega. You can just, I'll just take the fall if I'm not allowed to say this. But yes, there are some services which have been highly asked about, and the idea is that they'll be tied into Omega. So yes, absolutely, we are thinking about more ways, cosmetic or similar ways to monetize, but they will be tied into the subscription.
They just said paid content. They literally just admitted to paid content. Bravo, you fucking mongoloid. Bravo.
Yeah, I wonder if we got permission to say these things, because if we accidentally say something stupid or off the cuff or bait it into a dodgy non-perfect answer, it'll be drama llama. Yeah, I know, absolutely. That's the risk I'm taking right now. I'm on vacation. I just sat down and saw this happening, and I didn't like it. So if I say something wrong, then so be it. I'll take full responsibility for that.
If we had to take him at his word right here, and I'm willing to, CCP didn't pull him off his fucking vacation. He saw the shit show going on, and on his own volition, interrupted his fucking vacation to sit down and talk to people. No notes, nothing. I don't exactly believe that. I think there are definitely notes that he was given. However, it's so bad. The response is so necessary to the backlash they're getting that Paragon interrupted his vacation on his own to talk about this because nobody else will. That's a fucking cowardice from Hilmar and the others. That's a fucking cowardice.
I'll tank whatever heat comes my way. Jaden Solo, how can you say EVE is doing well when we can all see the number of people logging into the game before COVID, after it, before Russia, etc.? We can see the downward trend. Yeah, by what metric are we asking here? Is this player numbers we're talking about? Just clarify, ask again.
Yeah, they're
if we're
asking
talking
about player
financially
numbers.
or
the amount of people logged in
at any given time. Just
Are we asking about player numbers? Or are we asking about currency? Are we asking? No, he was very specific. We can all see the number of people logging in before COVID, before the Russia situation, and it's been a downward trend. Well, are you talking about player numbers? No, he just happened to mention being able to see player numbers, but he's not talking about that. Gosh, I wonder what he's talking about. I wonder if it might be something he mentioned. I wonder if there might be some little context clues. I wonder if we should go back to middle school grammar, middle school English classes, middle school reading. I wonder if there might be something we learned about in grade school and middle school about context clues. Put our brain caps on. Let's put our thinking caps. Could there be something in there? You absolute fucking idiot. I had some sympathy for him. And then he said that. I had sympathy. Now I do not.
Just give me the metric and I'll answer. Astrode, is this a temporary change then? Do we commit to lowering again once the real life situation is resolved? Personally, I have no idea. I'll tell you the truth. I haven't.
No, they are not going to lower the price once the whole Russia thing ends. When Russians can start paying again, they're not going to lower the price. When a price increase happens, it never, ever, ever goes back down. Ever. Dumb question to ask. It's never going back down.
Heard this discussed anywhere that this was going to be temporary? I haven't asked. I don't know, but I doubt it. I think this is here to stay. When we get Russia back, will prices go down? Possibly.
It's not.
This has been thought about, but it's just like future. Like you need a very big crystal ball to make a decision like that right now.
I'll answer for you. It's not going to go back down. Period. End of discussion.
Power 2 is not ready, then announce the change, but don't enforce it until it is ready. Yeah, I think there's going to be like a pretty heavy discount after FunFest, which means that the price is going to remain the same for at least a few months, even though it technically becomes the base price. Everyone who buys it is still just paying the old price for at least a few months. That's what I was told would be the plan.
If you were told that was the plan, that for the next few months there's going to be a huge fucking discount, why didn't you put that in there? Why didn't you, when you made the announcement, say, you know what, it's not going to be in May. We're going to push it out a couple of months. Starting in, let's see, May, June, July, September. Okay, we'll go with September. September 2022, the price will go up to $20 a month. Why are you banking on people being stupid enough to believe this shit? That somehow the player base is going to believe you when you say, it's going to be a pretty big, discount following FanFest. And aren't we such caring lords? Look at us caring about you and being such graceful people to discount so heavily the price of our game. Oh, you should be commending us for taking this hit to our pocketbook. How many stupid pills did you people take? How many? How fucking many?
Did you announce it on Friday so we forget about the Monday? No, the reason we announced it on Friday is because we are getting everything ready for FunFest. And we just came off an Easter break, which was 4 working days, which we missed out, and we didn't put it out until today because it wasn't ready until today.
It's not ready on Friday. You just admitted it wasn't ready on Friday. You can't answer basic questions about alt accounts. You can't even justify it. At the beginning of this fucking Q&A, you couldn't justify the raise. But you've been trying to. Bless your heart, you've been trying to. But you admitted at the beginning you can't justify it. You're hoping that would be fucking memory hold. It was not. We heard it. We remember it. And it will be used against you in the public court of law.
Trust me, I don't like it when I have to spend my Friday night or Friday evening working. But for you guys, anything. But yeah, we absolutely do not think you are just going to forget about it by Monday.
They absolutely were expecting people to either forget about it on Monday or that they could see what the complaints are, come in and tailor a response to the backlash like they did in 2011. Because that's what they did. They tailored their response to the backlash, all the while not responding to the questions. CCP Zulu? I think it was Zulu. Gave us the greatest dev blog in the history of dev blogs, equating the $70 monocle that was being talked about, giving the term monocle gate to the uprising. Talked about how it's equivalent to buying a $1,000 pair of designer jeans from a Japanese boutique, really showing how out of touch they were and how much they didn't care. Yeah, they were hoping either people would forget about it on Monday, or they could tailor a response on Monday or Tuesday to shut the little babies up. Keep giving us your... Do not be surprised if on Monday or Tuesday, part of that announcement is either pushing off the price increase, or seeing them say, "Oh, we're not gonna raise it by that much anymore." Yeah, it's gonna be different. Yeah, that's gonna work.
When you say lost to Russia, are you talking about sanctions and unable to hire people, labor from Russia? Yeah, we get zero income from Russia, period, full stop. They can't pay.
Yep. Again, political tangent here. These sanctions have only hurt the common Russian individual. They have not harmed the people the sanctions are ostensibly against. And Biden, I believe it was Biden, I know it was a politician, I know it was an American politician, who admitted that the purpose of it, actually, I think it was Graham. I think it was Senator Lindsey Graham, who's a fucking mongoloid and an idiot, by the way, who basically said that, yeah, the point of this is to get the Russian people to overthrow Putin. Because nothing says act of war better than to try to foment an actual insurrection in a foreign country. You know that whole thing about January 6th and the insurrection shit? I personally do not believe it was an insurrection. I think it was a bunch of fucking retards. I think the federal government definitely engaged some entrapment and fomented it, as evidenced by the Whitmer kidnapping. Feds seem to be doing a lot of that lately. How is in the ever? What we have done, what we are doing to Russia, has for decades, not centuries, for definitely decades, been considered casus belli, a cause of war. Casus bellum. Just saying. And then to just come out and say the quiet part out loud, Russia would be absolutely justified in responding with a couple of missiles. Not nuclear, But if they decided to launch a couple of cruise missiles at the Capitol and White House, unfortunately, that might actually be a justifiable response. You commit an act of war against a country, you cannot be surprised when the response from them is a response that you will understand. Do I want that to happen? Absolutely not. But kind of hard to not think about such things when your politicians admit to this. Just saying. I'm just fucking saying. So much freaking.
Why not release the price hike news in conjunction with the announcement of new content? It would better offset the news. Like, we don't want to offset.
How would it offset the news? I mean, it would. Don't get me wrong. It would. It would certainly take some of the wind out of the sails. But you know what might be more important? Not losing people to the announcement that there's a fucking price hike. We don't want to take the wind out of the sails of the good. So we're going to announce the bad 2 weeks before we announce the good. I'm not a PR guy, but I would be doing a little bit of weighing. The bad, it's bad. We should probably give them something to kind of offset that, bring it, balance in all things. Maybe we should do that.
The news. Like, there's nothing, like, we hope that the announced updates to the game make it so that you decide that that's viable for you, or that you want to continue playing the game and paying for it.
We hope. There is no certainty. And don't get me wrong, there's not going to be certainty in stuff like this. I'm not saying there should be. There is definitely not going to be certainty in such things. Okay? But when you were pretty certain beforehand, and now you've come down to, we hope. That's a problem. That's a fucking problem. The issue isn't going to be necessarily the announcement of the content. The issue is going to be the timeline until we see that content. Hate to break it to people, but the players are going to want to know specifics, timelines. When is it going live? They're going to hold you to that because they haven't had anything interesting for 2 years. You are going to be opening a fucking can of worms when you announce it. Because if you do not meet expectations, and there's a good chance you're not going to, because that's just how it is. Okay? That's the monster. You're not going to meet everybody's expectations. You're not. However, what is going to be more damaging to you, more damaging than not meeting everybody's expectations, is announcing a delay of the content you promised. Because you are banking on the goodwill at this point of the player base to get through these rather troubling times. And the player base's goodwill is only going to last a finite amount of time. And the minute you announce one delay, any goodwill you had, right out the fucking window. Right out that window. Because the player base is not going to deal with that. They are looking forward to something for the first time in 2 years. Some type of content. Something to break the tedium that they are experiencing in this game. Something that breaks the stagnation. And God help you if it's another, we're shaking up nullsec because the last fucking time you did that, it didn't work. So that content, one, better be good. It better be good. And two, you better not delay it. Unless you like delay it like a day, right? If you delay a day, like, okay, something came up, it's really easy to take care of, but we're asking for your indulgence. We'll throw it out there tomorrow during our daily restart, right? That's going to be the daily. That's going to be the content deployment. Please give us 24 hours. People would be, they'll be, at least they have an idea, right? Okay, they're saying tomorrow, we're good to go. I can hold off 24 hours. Wonderboy says 2071 Australian to 3061 Australian for a sub. No, I'm too poor. Yeah, that's per account. Unfortunately, that's per account, Wonderboy. Sorry, buddy. But if there is even one delay without a timetable, you're done. You're going to be done. The player base will be forgiving within reason. If you give them a reason to be forgiving, they will be. But if you don't, you're in trouble.
The fact that your game is now getting more expensive, like there's nothing I could say that's gonna make you feel better about it. Like you're never going to like it. Like, that's an inherently bad thing for you. Like, but we hope it's going to be worth it. Like we are going to do our absolute best to make Eve be crazy good for the next 2 years. After the past 2 years, where we laid the foundation for the work, and we've been harping this for 2 years, that what we're doing and have been doing for the past 2 years have been for a reason, and they are starting to be unraveled now.
If it took you 2 years to unravel what's going on, that's 2 years of people being pissed because there's no fucking content. That's 2 years of people going, why did you put this stuff in here and inconvenience me for 2 fucking years? Many of those people have probably already left the game. They probably already left the game. And you're coming out 2 years later to say, look, we laid the foundation for this 2 years ago, and now it's coming out. That's not gonna fly for most people. That is not gonna fly for most people. It's gonna hurt you. It only hurts you. It doesn't help you.
We just we would rather that you know ahead of time that this is happening, right?
Okay, fine. You want us to know ahead of time that's going to happen. Cool. Whatever. Give the players some hope. Not that hard. You just dashed expectations, dashed hope. You hurt the player base and you don't really care. I hate to break it to you. You really don't care. I'm looking at it and going, what the fuck? And you don't give me any hope that anything is coming. That's a problem. That's a fucking problem.
That's the only reason. It's just not to do like a rug pull. That would suck, right? So we would build your expectations and then we would tear it down again. At least now we'll start from the bottom, so to speak.
If you were setting the bar that low and you're still worried about not meeting expectations, it's time to shut down the game. 100% it's time to shut down the game. Because if your whole argument you just made, is we didn't want to get your hopes up and then not meet expectations. So we're starting at the very bottom. We're starting at rock bottom. That tells me, that tells other players that you're afraid you're not going to be able to justify with the content you're creating this price hike. We're at the bottom. Can't get any worse than it is now. Oh, yes, it can. Because you can go from having the accounts stay to having no accounts. The only time you're going to hit bottom is when the game shuts down and the studio closes. You aren't at rock bottom now, but that bar's pretty fucking low right now. You can't afford to fuck this up at this point.
What's the time frame on the additional accounts discount? Not sure. Hoping, I think the idea is that that it covers the like that it in some form will be ready when the offers expire. Like I think that's.
They are hoping it's ready for when the offers expire. Bro, you are not filling anybody with confidence with this thing. You've had nothing but non-answers and vague answers. There are no specifics. This is half-assed as fuck. This is so half-assed. And you are asking the players. Bro, trust me. It's going to be worth it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you can wait until FanFest. I don't think you have the ability to wait to FanFest to leak everything, to drop everything. I think some of it needs to come out now, this week. You need to tease some of it. If you have to put out fucking trailers, if you have to put out gameplay footage, fucking do it. I don't think you can wait 2 weeks until FanFest. I think you guys have done too much damage now. And that's not a good thing.
But don't hang me on it. When you say you lost Russia, are you talking about sanctions and enabled hired people? Yeah, I think I already answered this. Yes, we receive no income from Russia. Russian players, or people from Russia cannot travel here either, so we cannot hire them if we wanted to.
Question: why can't Russians travel there? That's a question. How is that a sanction?
Okay.
That doesn't work. That doesn't make sense.
I read a comment and the question: the announcement prior to FanFest has players concerned that CCP will not deliver new content updates at FanFest. The only announcements we have is content updates for FanFest.
Content updates. The only thing they have is content updates. Holy shit. Not even new content? Just content updates? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, if there's no new content and the content drought is going to continue, you just shot yourselves in the fucking dick.
There's nothing else, I think. At least
There's nothing else. ... I think. The guy who's supposed to be running fucking interference here doesn't even know. That's not a good thing. That's not a good sign. He either is being kept out of what's going on or he doesn't know because he's falling asleep. In either way, clearly, this guy should not be in this job.
So, yeah, I can say that, maybe. So what you're expecting, let me think about that one. Yeah, so in this like context, the announcements will be content for Evil Line, yes. Question about the new players are challenged with a game that rewards multiple accounts. Wait, did I finish that? Mainly revision into existing systems, mainly around ecology and industry. Yeah, okay. New players are challenged with a game that rewards multiple accounts. Given this challenge to onboarding new players, how will this price increase impact the ability to attract new players? Will it be more of a focus to the single account experience? I can just say this like from my own personal perspective right now, but I feel like in the past few years that has actually been the case. Things that were easy to multi-box have kind of been nerfed, so they're not as viable. So that's sort of already happened.
Things that have been easy to multi-box have been nerfed. They're talking about missions, combat sites, etc. Not PvP. They're talking about the PvE stuff. I mean, that's what I've seen. That's true. No lie detected. Not sure if that's the where you want the no lie detected though. Oh, whoa. Crap. Oh. God damn it. I fucked up. Give me 1 sec. Pull this over. Apparently I hit the wrong button, so I need to sign in to get back to where I was. Okay. Give me 1 second really quick. I'm gonna come back here. Was that roughly 24 minutes? Okay. Was that roughly 24 minutes?
So we cannot hire them if you wanted to, I think.
Should be right around here.
Question about the new players are challenged with a game that rewards multiple accounts. Wait, did I finish that? Mainly revision into existing systems, mainly around ecology and industry.
Okay. So
Things that were easy to multi-box have kind of been nerfed, so they're not as viable. So that's sort of already happened. Don't you think it's unfair for the rest of the players to pay more for someone else's mistakes? And will the prices go down once the conflict is over and the residents are back? I don't think it's fair to anyone. I don't think it's fair for anyone involved in any of this. But that's the world we live in. Will the price go down once the conflict is over and the residents are back?
No, it's not going to go down.
I don't know.
It's not going down. Stop asking. It's
far
not happening.
into the future to speculate, and it's too like
Again, it's not going down. Whenever there's a price increase, it does not go back down. Unless this shit's going out the window. Like the studio's about to die, do not expect the price to go down.
I don't know, anything could happen kind of deal. Yeah, Quantum Ace. I've already answered this question. Foxhollers as a corp is expecting to lose over 50% of our total accounts. How do you expect the rest of the game to fare? Wait, did I answer that? Or yeah, let me see. Yeah, I think I've already answered that. 10. Literally everyone else is $15. Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft. Yes, but when they do big content expansions, they also sell it in like retail for a one-off price.
Yes, when they do an expansion, a content expansion, they sell it $40, $60, $80, right? That's how it's been for God knows how long. Eve's always kind of done their expansions, right? Their expansions for free. You've always gone it for free. But the expansions have never been massive expansions going through multiple instances, an entire storyline quest, side quests, right? And even if you say, those are the same thing with what Eve does. Eve doesn't have really voice actors. They don't have voice actors. So they don't have to pay for those. Eve really, Eve kind of has some video. Not to the extent that Blizzard does, don't get me wrong, but, there's that. Eve doesn't have expansions like those games do. When they do an expansion, it's not exactly common for said expansion to have new content. Right? What was the one that brought was it Apocrypha brought wormholes? That was the last really big expansion we had that added new content. Nothing else really. Everything else has been completely rebalancing ship classes or modules or, something like that. Never really adding anything. Just modifying stuff that's already in there. I don't like that. I don't like the that argument. They sell the expansions because there's a lot of development costs that go into it. And, I'm not saying EVE Online doesn't have development costs. It certainly does, but it doesn't have it to the extent that World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, Elder Scrolls Online, etc. have. It just doesn't. Again, it's an apples and oranges kind of thing, especially when new content hasn't been added to the game in 2 to 3 years, and when you've modified systems and changed things in the game for the last 2 years, you've then had to turn around and undo those because you didn't listen to player base and because you didn't think things through. So it's not apples and apples. You wanna? There we go.
So it's a different model, but same idea. So they were essentially like more expensive, slightly. I'm not trying to hide in a corner here from being you being wrong. Don't get me wrong. But yes, they are $15, but their expansions are paid for with the in retail when they sell.
Again, they sell them because they have a lot more going into them. A lot more. Each and every expansion, as stupid as an expansion for WoW may be, I think Warlords was terrible. I think Battle for Azeroth was terrible. I wasn't a fan of Legion. What's it called? Fuck, I can't remember what this expansion is, right? Oh, God damn it. I need to... Not Dragonflight. That's the next one. And actually, I might be buying it, and I'm really pissed about it. Shadowlands. There we go. That's what I was thinking of. World of Warcraft Shadowlands. There was still a lot of stuff put into it. They should sell it, right? A lot more going into it. Again, just going through what's going on. Balance passes, new stuff, new quests, not just the main quest, but side quests, new instances, new raids, right? That $40 you pay goes towards all the stuff you get to begin with. Okay? So your tier whatever, I'm just going to say tier 1 raids, those dungeons. Okay? The balance passes, the cinematics that they do, the marketing, the voice acting, all of that is paid for by you buying the expansion. You buy the expansion. And then there are multiple, and you know that when you pay for it, you're also getting relatively regular content updates. With EVE Online, you don't have regular content updates. There's no new content being added. It's modifying stuff and then unmodifying it because you fucked it up. Just saying, again, not apples and apples. Nowhere close. Oh, come on. Here we go. It is. Why is it doing that?
Expansion. Corvus, also, you mentioned large content expansions. Will these expansions work on the current and many issues within specific areas of the game? What will we be getting for the increased price? Wait until FanFest.
You really don't have the ability to say wait until FanFest right now. Wait 2 weeks. Let this all fester. You know, you've essentially got a huge gaping wound in your leg. All right. You've got, we'll act like the germs of the angry players. Not a perfect analogy, but here we are. All right. The germs are getting into that wound. It's causing an infection. The body's reacting. Your doctor, you go to a doctor, the doctor's not going to say, wait 2 weeks and we'll see how it looks. No, the doctor's going to say, yeah, we need to put you on antibiotics right now. We probably need to stitch that up. We definitely need to disinfect it. Well, we'll probably have to stitch it up. Maybe we'll have to do a little bit of surgery. They're going to take care of it right then and there, relatively speaking, to save your life. Think of EVE Online as the body. Think of the angry players as the germs. If the employees, if Hilmar and Paragon right now were the doctor and they said, wait 2 weeks, you'd be walking the fuck out of there and going to another doctor. Because that would be the smart thing to do. You don't have 2 weeks. Allowing this to fester is not going to help you. You're not going to be building up excitement. You're not going to be building up excitement for FanFest. This is when you want to build up excitement for FanFest. These are the last 2 weeks before it. You're supposed to be getting people excited, hyped. And the 2 weeks before it, you're on a low note. Contrary to how you put it earlier, being on a low note and then having the discussions and leaking stuff and announcing stuff, rather, not leaking, announcing stuff is not going to have the desired effect. It's not. You're going to have, unless you get into the very specific stuff. Dates. When is it coming out? When? Not roughly when. You need to nail down a date. And you can't walk it back. You can't delay it. I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. CCP has never done something like that. The player base at FanFest is going to be pissed. They're going to be annoyed. You are going to be inundated with people who are asking you these questions. You are going to have a Diablo Immortal situation. I'm calling it now. I am calling it now that we are probably going to see Hilmar or somebody on a stage with a "don't you guys have phones" moment. It's pretty much a guarantee at this point. Because they're going to go into it knowing that they can't weasel out of it. And if they don't answer it, they don't answer the question, not going to end well. FanFest is 2 weeks away. CCP is going to bleed out before then. I don't know if they'll bleed out. but they are definitely going to be hurting.
Kyle, has CCP thought or looked into the way that prices fluctuate based on different regions? I'm in Australia. With this price increase, you're looking at over $30 per sub. Other MMO companies like Blizzard and Square Enix supplement this by changing the price to Australian dollars instead of US dollars. Has CCP looked into this at all? And if not, is this something you can look into? It is something I could look into.
They didn't even look into conversion. They hadn't even looked into conversion. They hadn't even looked into conversion. Are you fucking serious?
We already sell the game in other currencies besides US dollar. Adding different currencies as a part of this price change is possibly something we can do to relieve the load. I haven't been in conversations personally where this has been discussed, but I can for sure bring it up with the people involved. I'm noting some of those down, by the way. I'll do like a follow-up post where I answer these in more detail if I can't answer them, by the way.
Yeah, this ain't gonna end well. I'm already calling it now. It's not gonna end the way that they want it to.
So as someone with 47 accounts, I literally cannot believe I am forced to pay an extra $215 a month. That's US money to play this game where you have committed no work other than cheaper threads or changing indie and ruining that shit. Stockpiles this, stockpiles that, give people a fucking reason to undock shit. Lost all 47 subs today. Congrats. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear you leaving.
Why is there music playing? That's not coming from me. Okay.
Hopefully you'll wait until May 7th.
I guess the guy who
make a decision. But
I guess the guy who was
if it's too much, then yeah,
recording hit something and he didn't
that's understandable.
To. I got worried. I was like, "What am I playing?"
I don't believe the reinvestment story. I think the EVE community is paying for the London studio development. Okay. So we have a few products which are not just EVE Online.
Yeah, we know.
Namely Echoes. As well.
What the? I don't remember seeing Echoes. EVE Echoes launches on iOS. Okay, so it's a mobile game. Okay, fine. Fuck it. Whatever.
They are used to fund future projects. That's just how business works. You need to fund your future projects, so not only do it with your current income.
If you guys ever had a fucking other project that worked, if you had another project that made you money, sure. Every other project you guys have had has been a money sink. Hasn't made you money. Hasn't made you money. Taking money from the only thing making you money, not reinvesting it, and instead putting almost all of it into other projects that have all failed, without exception, is lunacy. Fucking lunacy. People want to know if you're reinvesting into EVE. And you pretty much just said, no, it's going to other things. We want to diversify our portfolio, which is okay. I'm not saying don't diversify your portfolio. But maybe a lot of that should be going back into EVE. God damn it, come on.
Hopefully that will also return in the opposite direction if they are successful. Like that's the whole idea. If they succeed, then everything else also succeeds. Smooms.
No, if other things succeed, it doesn't mean everything else succeeds. Because everything has failed. And it's not because other things have failed. It's because the company failed in its vision. Because just like this announcement, it was half-assed. No real direction. You've admitted as much. You've admitted as much. You are half-assing every fucking thing. And you're expecting people to not lose their fucking minds. You're expecting people to accept this, and it's not going to happen.
Expectations on a 24-month subscription. It's very risky to commit to an unpredictable, evolving game 2 years in advance. I would definitely wait for FunFest and see like what comes out of that. And
that doesn't answer the question. Why would I want to pay 2 years up front when you have habitually fucked up? Why do I want to give you enough money for 2 years of a game, give away my ability to actually protest in the only manner possible? The only manner that you can possibly protest CCP's stupidity is to cancel your account, because they don't care about social media backlash. They don't care about the forums backlash. They don't care about Reddit backlash. They only care about the money they are making. This is why paying at most 3 months is a warning to them, because it gives them an idea. It gives them a timetable to unfuck themselves. If 25, 50% of the players are paying for 2 years, that's 2 years they don't have to give a fuck about anything. They can sit there jerking off. They don't have to care. What are you going to do? Cancel your account? They already have your money. They don't care. So when you aren't paying for 6 months, a year, 2 years, that timetable is a lot smaller. And they don't have 2 years to fuck around and find out. They have to keep you interested. Sure, it's a cyclic rate. They just need 3 months, but if in that 3 months, if it's only it's coming due, if it was every 3 months, January, March, June, September, right? If it was that, or, January, April, July, October, right? If it was like that, as everybody was charged on those months, and you only saw them working on stuff the last month before a payment was supposed to be made, you could then turn around and go, yeah, I'm done. You clearly don't care. Do not pay for anything more than 3 months at a time. It might cost a little more, but the only way you can make your voice heard in a situation like this is to cancel your account, to cancel your subscription. It's the only way to make your voice heard and to get any kind of change. Because if you don't have that, you cannot force them to improve. You cannot force them to listen to you. And that is the only thing at this point that you have, is being able to force them to listen to your voice. Using your money, using your wallet.
Some of the offers that come out after FunFest, which I think are planned, and make a decision then. I agree that it's right now, like today, yeah, it's super risky. Don't do it.
Even your PR guy is saying it's really risky to pay for 2 years. Not good. Not good, CCP. Not fucking good.
It become available until later in May, so you have a few weeks to just make that decision.
Okay, I'm going to say this right now. Do not play. Do not pay, rather, for a year, 2 years, 6 months, 3 months after FanFest feel like what they hear. Because unless they give you a timetable, it doesn't matter. CCP is notorious for soon TM. Notorious for it. Pushing things down the road. Not giving clear, concise timetables. Not holding themselves to deadlines. Do not go out and screw yourself by paying for 3 months or 6 months or a year. If they don't come out and say, yeah, there's going to be content next month, do not give them all that money. Make them earn it. Because over the last 2 years, they certainly have not been. And they are banking on people engaging in the sunk cost fallacy. I put so much time and money into this game that I can't quit now. And if I just put more time and money into this game, CCP will listen. The game will get better. Too many people, and they are banking on that fallacy to take hold. CCP's one thing that the player base has always been is supportive, loyal. CCP has a player base that is so loyal, other game companies have publicly stated they wish they had that loyalty from their player bases. It might be a pain in the ass for CCP when they fuck up, and they do fuck up. But that loyalty means that the players are looking for the game to succeed, to unfuck itself. We forced them in the wake of 2011. The player base forced them for years to make the game better at the expense of World of Darkness and yeah, even Dust. We forced them to. Because we made it very clear, if they don't, we walk. It wasn't an idle threat. Even Hilmar had to accept that. He had to admit to that. A real threat of we will fucking walk if you do not improve things is the most terrifying thing for them to hear. Keep that in your mind. Keep that in your back pocket, because your voice is clear. It forces them to listen at times. You want them to listen.
Why did you not say any of this in terms of reinvesting into e-online in the newsletter and need to do this now? Okay, sorry. I'm not sure. I wasn't involved with the making of that particular newsletter. I'm just coming out of short vacation. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that could have been added. And I'm pretty sure we did mention it though. Let me see. Read a few times now. It might have been worded differently.
Look, I'm going to put it this way. All right. No plan survives first contact. Okay. Hindsight is 2020. Okay. We can look at everything in retrospect and say, oh man, we should have said something like this. Right. But the idea of things like this is that you stop, you take a step back, you think about it. Okay. What are possible? You have an A team and a B team. A team makes the proposal. B team finds faults. Okay. Or criticisms. Right? Happens all the time. Military, we did it. You know, in college, we did it. Where I work, we do it. PR teams know this. Customer service knows this. You have people, you throw ideas off of them. You don't want yes men. You want people that are going to criticize you. You want people that are going to question the decision or what you're saying. Because they're probably going to find a lot of the problems that the player base, if you had bounced it off of them, there's a good chance that B team would have found a lot of the criticisms that the player base is saying now. And then you wouldn't be all fucking shocked. Goddamn Pikachu. You wouldn't be. You'd have been prepared. You could have had a little more professionalism in your announcement. You could have covered a little more. Maybe the backlash would not have been so negative. But here we are. Here we are.
Yeah, okay. I see. Yeah, I think they just they want to talk about it at FanFest, I guess. Musa. When FanFest is a flop, what will be the next justification? I mean, I hope we don't flop it. What color is the CCP yacht? It's black. That was a joke. Follow-up question. Why is it on the players to fund this investment into the game pre-content release instead of post-content release? It will be post-content. At least some of it. It doesn't.
Actually, that's a really good point. Why is it incumbent on the player base to pay to fund something before it's released? Well, it will be paying for it once it's released. Yeah, but people are paying for it now. With a bunch of promises, vague promises, but promises nonetheless, no payoff right now. People haven't seen much over the past 2-3 years. What promise is there? What promise? What promise is there? None. You got a problem. That's something else that should be said is, he talks about how the expansions are paid, the expansions are paid for in World of Warcraft and whatnot. Yeah. Unless you pre-order, you don't pay until it's out. You don't have to. Pre-order does help fund it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not mandatory if you want to play it. You can buy it after it's released. Once you actually have a date set up. If you want to play, you don't have to pre-order. More and more, it feels like an early access game where people are paying for stuff that's coming down the road. They're paying now for something that's promised that will come out in 6 months. That's not okay. Now, the obviously the other side is when you pay a subscription, a monthly subscription, you're paying for the stuff right then and there. Right? No different in Eve. You're paying for the stuff that's out right then and there. You're not paying for the stuff in the future. You're paying for the stuff right then and there. Fine. I can see that argument. It's a little difficult to argue against it. I'll be the first to admit that. Okay, it's a little difficult to argue against that. But Paragon has made it sound like all of this is being used to fund the future, not now. Obviously, that's poor wording on his part. Obviously, you are. If you're paying, you're funding it for now and the future. I'm not saying otherwise. But again, apples and oranges.
This price change doesn't take place until after we've revealed what it is. And to do it, we actually have to make it first, and that costs. So I think it will be, I think it's in part true that they will be funded pre-content release, but not entirely. Why do real-world subscriptions costs vary so much between countries? Video game developers do this because some countries are just economically not as like they make less money, so it's better for the total health of the game that they get the game at a discounted price so that they can participate.
It's true. A lot of games do that. They take the local currency and they base pricing around that local currency, the strength of that local currency. So, for example, right now, the Japanese yen is considered vulnerable when compared to the dollar. The dollar is kind of the, for lack of a better term, it's the gold standard of currency. Everything at the moment is based around its strength compared to the dollar. And so the Chinese yuan, the yen, right, the ruble, the dinar, the GBP, the euro, Canadian dollar, are all at the moment compared to the dollar, and that kind of determines its strength. So if you wanted to buy a game in Venezuela, as a general rule, if it's in Steam and whatnot, the Steam takes that and converts it, and then things are, I'm not an economist, obviously, I'm not a mathematician, but they make the price based on the strength of that compared to the dollar. Game companies do this to get more people to play, right? Happens all the time. In this scenario, everything was going to be based around $20 USD, immaterial of where you were. So again, if you're playing from Venezuela, you're paying 8 million Venezuelan, bolivars. You'd be paying $30 Australian, roughly $30 Canadian. Not cool. Australia's always had it rough, though, because they're a fucking penal colony out in the middle of the Pacific. But you kind of have to take that into account, and CCP just didn't. Again, Paragon's admitted multiple times that this was rushed. So,
and therefore have more players in their game. This is pretty standard in every game, not just MMOs, just the video game industry as a whole. And it's also just more, if it's more affordable, then they'll also be more likely to buy it. Asteroid, wouldn't it be better for us to come out with better value for people to purchase? Alliance skins, station skins, cat ears. How can you reject attempts to monetize but yet increase the base price? Wait for FanFest.
Seriously, wait till FanFest does not answer a fucking thing. It's kicking a can down the road, and you are not in a position to be able to kick the can down the fucking road.
New content can the player base expect?
Wait till FanFest.
Wait for FanFest.
You don't have the ability to do that. You cannot say that. You do not have the strength. You are not in a position at this table to be able to say that.
How does this price hike help EVE's finances in light of so many people unsubbing their alts or entirely unsubbing from a game? It's a well-known fact in business that oftentimes a lower price for product will actually result in higher revenue due to higher demand due to more palatable cost. Yeah, like I'm sure they did the math and believed that this was. No, I know for a fact that they did the math and they have their models and
He's
projections
not wrong,
and
by the way.
Expectations of what is going to happen.
He's not wrong. As a general rule, if you lower the cost in a game like EVE Online, where it wants you to have as many alts as your computer can run, and even then push it to the limit, right? They want you to have more. Okay, so if you lower the price, let's say you have 3 alts, and they lower the price from $15 to $10. Well, you're already paying $45, right? Now you're paying $30. That allows you to, you know, put up another account, right? Another alt. Maybe you can put up 2. Maybe you can spend another $5 to do it. You'll pull in more people who aren't necessarily playing the game. You're going to pull people like me back who stop playing because it's boring. Hey, it's $10 right now? Well, hot shit. Maybe I'm going to go back. It's only $10 now, not 14, not 15, not 20. It's cheaper now. Maybe I'll take a look. And since I have 3 accounts right now, maybe I'll just sub all 3 of them instead of just subbing 2. Who knows? That's not happening.
We obviously wouldn't be doing this if we thought that it was going to mean that there would be less revenue.
That is going to be quite a.
Let me see. I'm gonna wrap up soon.
That is.
I hope I've answered at least some of it. Let's cherry pick a good one. Okay, I'll just do this one because it's super important. Why not lay out what you're going to do and then announce a price increase to go with it? You can much more easily justify a change like this instead of just momentarily before FanFest. This is incredibly bad optics and incredibly obvious to be the case.
Yes. Yes, it's bad optics. I'm not one for optics normally, but this is bad optics.
I wouldn't be against a price hike if I had a list of reasons as to why. But as it stands, right now it doesn't seem like it's warranted. This is coming from a player who pays for Plex. I have enough issues to where I don't care if the cost of 1 month of Plex goes up 1 billion per character. I mean, yeah, we know. Like, it's bad optics. We know. We are tanking this because we don't want to. We just can't stand and meet people in the face at FanFest knowing that we're going to do this without telling them ahead of time.
You basically have just said we're doing it because we're afraid of the reaction at FanFest if we do it. You would rather have the 2 weeks of people flipping their fucking shit, accounts being unsubbed, discontent, people pissed. You would rather have that than deal with what people say in person. People are still going to tell you shit in person. You're just giving them 2 weeks to allow it to fester. Because they were looking forward to FanFest. It's a vacation in Iceland in spring. Not much of a vacation, let's be completely honest. But the point is, it's a vacation. It's a weekend away from the family. I don't have responsibilities. I can talk about my favorite fucking game, fucking Online. And then 2 weeks before it, you shit on the carpet. And now they have to deal with that. They got to deal with that. And whose fault is that? It's not the player's fault. You know whose fault it is? Your fault. It's your fault because you didn't use anything to attenuate the rage that would build. You didn't give them hope. You didn't give them anything to care about other than the game is going to cost more. Stupid decision, and you've even admitted as much. You're trying to polish this turd. We just, look, we're doing the big thing and letting you know beforehand. No. Somebody jumped the gun, I think. I'm kind of convinced at this point that they jumped the gun. And somebody fucked up and posted it, and they didn't mean to. Starting to get that hint. We're almost done,
Just,
thank God.
It's cowardly. We don't want to do it. That's the truth.
No. What's cowardly is saying that you are raising it because of inflation, but then admitting that it's really because you lost Russia and the Ukraine. That's cowardly. What's cowardly is putting it on the fucking internet at 5 in the evening, right before you all head home for the weekend, and ignore the player base. What's cowardly is putting CCP Paragon out here in the middle of this fucking vacation to answer questions because Hilmar is shitting the bed. This backlash, we didn't expect it, even though we have plenty of evidence to support that when we fuck up like this, the player base tends to get a little nettled. And they do stuff like this. But somehow it's more cowardly to put this stuff out there at FanFest. Giving people hope is not the same as cowardice.
At least in this way, you have this knowledge going into FanFest, right? And
you have this knowledge going into FanFest, so you can ask questions. That'll probably get similar answers to this, non-answers. Because when you ask the question, they're going to say, well, wait for this content to come out. Why do I have to wait for that content to come out to determine if this is worth it? You should be able to tell me, right? You should be able to tell me, look, I am a nullsec player who likes doing missions or who likes mining, and you've nerfed it. Why is this game worth the money now? Why? Why would it be worth it? We'll just wait until this content comes out. No, I'm done. You can't even answer that question.
You know that there's going to be nothing of the sorts that's coming afterwards, besides what's already been announced.
All right. And I think this is where he's done.
Phantomite, this is a good one. You know that Eve lives and dies by content created by players, not events. When are you going to stop focusing on events you're curating and focus on getting Eve fighting again? Yeah, that's the whole point. Wait for FanFest. So I guess it's a good way to end it.
I mean, if you think about it, right now they got the players to start fighting again. It's just they're fighting against the company and not each other. I mean, kind of. You got a couple of White Knights in there, but I'm pretty sure, because this was shown during the Summer of Rage, that CCP had alts that they would use to gaslight people and try to lower the criticism. That was known. Found out about. Just keep that in mind. All right, so that's the entire thing. The big takeaways from this are wait for FanFest, apparently, for literally everything. CCP has no clue what the fuck they're doing. They have a plan, except they don't have a plan. This is all about inflation. Actually, it's about Russia. Yeah, wait for FanFest. It pisses me off every time you said that. It's pissed me off. And I'm not the only one. I think Mittens lost his fucking mind over that. You don't have until FanFest at this point. CCP doesn't have until FanFest. They will sink or swim within the next 2 weeks. You're either going to be a floater or you're going to be a sinker, CCP. And right now you're sinking. No matter what, this is a piece of shit. So, my take on it, this didn't answer a fucking thing. It asked more questions, it got less answers. As a returning veteran player, I was given no reason to care about this game. I was given no reason to. If I was a new player and watching this and listening to this, I'd be like, I'm looking for another game. Veterans are pissed. Returning players are annoyed. I'm not saying I speak for all of them, but I'm pretty sure I speak for quite a few of them. New players aren't going to know what's going on, but they're going to see the veteran players are pissed. What are you going to do at this point? What can you do? I'd be annoyed. I think everybody would be annoyed. Not a good sign. Not a good sign. Understand me? Not a good sign. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. I mean, this is a shit show. That I don't CCP allowing it to fester for the entire weekend and only sending Paragon out like this didn't help anything. And I don't think anybody should be under any impression that this is going to fix anything. So, hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your weekend. It's 5 a.m. here. I'm going to go do other things. But enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope the next week goes good for you. Enjoy it. Play your games. Maybe it's Eve, maybe it's not. I don't know. Depends on how you feel about it. But this announcement, this decision, this recording, absolute garbage. So enjoy it. I'm out. I'm going to go try and relax after hearing this shit.